What's up, guys? We have a special guest today. Today we got Coach Ayla Guzzardo from Georgia. Coach, thank you so much for coming on today. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Ayla Guzzardo just recently got hired here at the University of Georgia for women's basketball. Was at McNeese State prior to being here. Was there for a very quick tenure and was at Southeastern Louisiana previously before that. But Louisiana kid out in Georgia doing some big things.
Coach, like, has it hit you yet? Like, that you're the head coach of Georgia basketball. Like, have you had that moment? Like, wow.
Um, Press conference, I think was my wow moment. They really did a lot for it. Just the people that supported, that came out. It was packed from wall to wall. Just the band, everything. The support has just been unreal. So every once in a while, I get those moments. But I think that press conference was really the big thing that hit me.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. I know you said you're a Louisiana kid. Has the Athens food, like, if you found the Athens spot, like the food to compare to Louisiana yet?
Okay, I'm not going to say a comparison, but Athens has some really good food. Now, bull crawfish, I'm going to have to stick with Louisiana. But no, Athens has some great local statements that we've been kind of testing out here and there. But great food, great people. But Louisiana might have them right there.
Yes, man. So you mentioned crawfish. So are you more of a crawfish, boudin, jambalaya, beignets? Like, what's your like go-to Louisiana type of food?
I love a
Even
good,
it's
I
a
love
lot.
a good boil. Give me a good boil, but I want like all the fixings in it. I want the crawfish, the corn, the potatoes. I want it all.
Yes, ma'am. And I know you said you had three kids. So like, what's that like balancing that life and being a college basketball coach?
I have a lot of help. And if you know me, you know that my family is probably the most important thing to me, but my family is also very intertwined with my team. So, we got here, I think before they even got here, Ty, one of my players that I brought with me from McNeese, was at the park with my kids. So it becomes a big family atmosphere. And I think that you can kind of really see that once you get to know us.
Yes, ma'am. What's something else people probably wouldn't know about you, like aside from basketball?
Aside from basketball, I worked in a juvenile detention center for about a year and a half. Loved it, absolutely loved it. But that's where I kind of got my start with foster care. And if I would have never been there, I probably wouldn't have met the three greatest people in my life.
Would you say working there helped you sort of like build a program and establish like a culture?
It definitely established something. I think that, I learned a lot of patience there. I learned from different backgrounds of people. And, ultimately that one decision, can't completely change your life. You have to be able to change it for yourself. But, we've met a lot of people in this process through each jobs that I've had. And I think every single person that I've came in contact with has helped shape me into the better coach that I am.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. Moving a little more on to the basketball side, you inherited a McNeese team, last year that was coming off like I would say I think it was 10 wins. So when you took over that team, I know you brought a lot of your southeastern players over with you. What would you say it was the camaraderie those girls had, or would you say it was just like more of a we have a point to prove because this program like deserves better? What do you think? Like what do you credit that to?
I think a little bit of both. I think you have to always credit it to the culture. And I think that my staff and my support staff do a great job with continuing our culture and keeping it growing. But once you have that culture set, the players run it. We are a player-led team, and we're going to continue to be a player-led team. But I'm going to say a little bit of the culture, but we also have the talent to be successful, and then the players really put in the work and the effort to change that program around in year one.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. And I know you only spent one season at McNeese, but like, what will you definitely remember about your short stint at McNeese?
I think the biggest was probably the people and the alignment of the athletic department into the president. To everybody had the same vision. And I think that's one thing that attracted me to the University of Georgia is the vision and the alignment are the same. You really can get things done. You feel not so much the pressure, but the positivity radiating through your program.
Yes, ma'am. And I read that Josh Brooks, the AD, was a guy from Louisiana. So like, what does that familiarity do to like accepting a big job and taking a big move like that?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of comfort zone. I think for me, when Josh called, it was a no brainer to pick it up. But one thing about him is you never really understand who his favorite team is. He gives a lot of credit to a lot of teams. I think he was in track nationals. Now he's in Omaha with our baseball team. And we still feel important. So I think he does a great job with letting you feel that you're the most important program on campus.
Yes, ma'am. And coach, I played college football. I did a lot. I've seen a lot. So like when a coach takes a new job, what's one of the things like that you had to like quickly do? Like I think it was in the middle, like right before the transfer portal started. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So like, what do you have to do when you have your family all the way in Louisiana? You get to Athens, Georgia, and then you still got to hire a staff. You got to manage the portal. You got to manage the players on Georgia roster that you want to keep. Like, how do you manage all that so quickly?
You spend your Easter Sunday on a phone. No, it was very quick. But I kind of had an idea of who I would like to take with me. Kind of had an idea ahead of time, what players from Georgia were looking to stay, and have an idea of who's in the portal. We're always recruiting, no matter what. Things happen, things come up, so you're always on that recruiting trail. But I have a great staff, and I think the one thing about them is they don't get enough credit. I was able to handle a lot of my family stuff, personal stuff here in Athens, while, some of them were in the transition the same way as me, still working the portal, still making those phone calls. And then I had great Georgia staff that I retained that were working on getting visits set up. So I think I had a little bit of everybody working behind the scenes, but it helped us with this recruiting process.
Yes, ma'am. I know one of those players you brought over was Dakota Howard. She was tremendous as a freshman. She led your team in points, rebounds, steals, and she followed you to Georgia. So what does a player like that following you mean to you?
It's important. I think especially in this day and age with the portal and all the different changes with NIL, it's important to have your players feel like you have their back and they have yours in the same process. So Dakota's a very special person just in general and an outstanding basketball player. So I'm excited that I'm going to continue to watch her grow on and off the floor here at the University of Georgia. But she's got a lot of special things about her, and I'm excited for the SEC to see some of it.
Yes, ma'am. You've had a lot of players follow you throughout your career. What do you think? What do you think the players love about you that wants them to like say, I'm definitely going to play with Coach?
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily me. I think it's our atmosphere and our culture that we, embody. It's not about one particular person, one particular player. It's about the team. As a whole, we try to win championships. We're not trying to just look at the fact that one person's the most successful person or one person's player of the year. So we're trying to win championships here.
Yes, ma'am. Like you just mentioned, championships. Like the SEC is like arguably the toughest conference in women's basketball. How do you like? What are you most excited for going into the SEC?
I'm excited for something new. I think that in the Southland, I've been really prepared for all the games and all the opponents, but I'm really excited for something new, a change of scenery a little bit, I'd say. But no, there's a lot of big competition. Every game is going to be a battle. Every game is going to be a top 25 matchup almost in a way. So it's going to be a challenge, but we are prepared for that challenge.
Yes, ma'am. So like right now, what are you guys doing like right now? Is it just workouts or is it like straight practice? Like what does the college basketball season look like in June for you guys?
Yeah, right now it's a little bit of us trying to get healthy, in every aspect, on and off the floor, but we're trying to still remain healthy, but we also have our little 8 hours. So it's a little bit in the weight room, a little bit of on the court, skill development, making sure that our, terminology is the exact same way we're speaking in every direction. But we're getting it in, and it's been fun to kind of see them adjust to us and us adjust to them.
Yes, ma'am. And college basketball has definitely changed so much with NIL, the transfer portal. How do you go from the era of, players stay for about 4 to 5 years to now going to it's sort of like maybe can go to like free agency every off season? What's some things you don't like about it? Maybe some things you actually do like about it?
I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. But in the same way, you're building a relationship every year. So we do those recruiting early. People say to you all the time, you recruit your own players. And yes, I'm recruiting my own players, but I'm also just building a relationship with them, a place where they can feel comfortable to learn and grow and develop every single day. And I think my coaching staff does a phenomenal job with that, just making sure they're taken care of on and off the floor. And I think that's one thing special that Georgia has given us, that ability to continue to love our players and continue to help them grow. But it's all about developing that relationship.
Yes, ma'am. So what qualities do you think you look for in a recruit or a kid? Like what's some of them qualities you look for beyond basketball?
Yeah, one thing about us is you got to be tough. You have
Yeah,
to be tough and you have to be able to compete at a high level. And I think coming into the SEC, every single person that we recruited can compete at a high level and they're all tough. They all have a little chip on their shoulders. And I'll say that with my entire coaching staff. We all have a little chip on our shoulders. And the thing about us is you're never just going to beat us up. You know,
yes, ma'am.
you might win the battle, but you ain't gonna win the fight every single time.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and I think that's been fun to kind of watch us evolve and grow.
Yeah, most definitely. Would you say like the bonds you build with your players, do you think that helps come portal season, like retention and keeping your own players and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Oh, hands down. Um, but it's not something that we necessarily do because of the portal. We've been
Yeah.
doing that constantly, outside of the portal. Before the portal even opened, we have to be those types of people. And just because that we're at this situation in this university, we're not going to change who we are. We're going to continue doing what makes us great. And that's just being a person first and being, that mother figure that they can go to, that father figure that they can go to. I sat with a kid today and we just talked about life. It wasn't anything important. It wasn't anything related to basketball, but it was just, how are you doing? What's going on with your family? So it's just really getting to know them outside of the game. And when you do that and you buy into them, they buy into you.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. And I know when Georgia fans turn on like, whenever you guys are playing, when they turn on you guys, like what's something you want them to see? Like I know you said toughness. Like what do you think defines your teams?
Yeah, the will to just never give up. You'll never see me. It'll be rare if I'm sitting down. If I'm sitting down, something must be wrong. Um, but just
Something's
remember,
not right.
yeah, sometimes call a doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
But if I'm sitting down, I'm not going to give up. Whether we're winning by 20 or losing by 20, I'm not giving up on my team. And I think that's something you're going to see that my entire team is going to embody, their will to just never give up. And then ultimately for us, we want to be the most conditioned team in the SEC. If you're the most conditioned team in the SEC, you're probably one of the most conditioned teams in this country. So I think with us, you won't see us tired, you won't see us weak, but we're going to compete at a high level.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. Like you said, most conditioned team. I see you guys last year when you and McNeese went and played against Alabama. You guys were like right there with them the whole game. I know the score probably doesn't reflect that, but like I watched the whole game. Like you guys were really competing with them. So I'm really excited to see like what you can do on a bigger stage with more talent and more resources. But going back to NIL, I remember watching like college football. I cover that more. So like I look at the calendar, like I see like the national championship is being played the next semester of school, or you have kids getting in the transfer portal maybe during the playoffs. But I noticed during college basketball, the transfer portal can't officially open until after the national championship.
Mhm.
What's something that you would change about college sports, like within NIL or the transfer portal? If you can add maybe one wish that you could change.
So many things. If I had to change one thing though, we would need some clear direction on the portal, and I think that yes, the portal is phenomenal. But you also have to understand that we want these players to compete and grow at a high level. So what are we putting in place for them to be successful? Are we making sure that they get a degree? Their progression towards degrees, are they meeting that certain standard? I want every single one of my players to get a ring on their finger and walk across the stage.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
make sure that we're preparing them for life. So although the portal is amazing for new opportunities, coaches do it all the time. I don't have a problem with players doing it. We will need to make sure we put some parameters and maybe some guidelines into the aspect of the portal to make sure our players and our student athletes are just continuing to be successful and off the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Most definitely. So who's somebody that inspires you as a coach? I seen on your Instagram story you posted the book. I seen it was Dan Hurley's book. Who's on some other coaches that inspire you to be a better coach each and every day?
Just so you know, I'm not headbutting anybody like Dan. I'm not doing anything crazy. No. I would probably say my previous college coaches. They're very different in a way. I played JUCO ball for Madonna Thompson at Shelton State, and her passion and her intensity and how she developed players on and off the floor, really took a big turn in my life. Just watching her just be that person, that coach. And then I played for Jody Kess at the University of Akron, and watching how she studied the game and how she poured into the game was just unreal. And if I could be half the coaches that they are, I'm going to get somewhere, in life. But they're great people. Still talk to them both daily, not daily, but maybe monthly. And, they've really changed my perspective. I didn't get into this thinking I wanted to coach. I wanted to be a nurse or something crazy. And then, listening to them, watching them daily, it's, kind of transformed my life into coaching.
What's the best piece of coaching advice you think you ever received?
Gosh, that's tough because I've got like a book. No,
Yes, ma'am.
I would say be adaptable. Be adaptable. I have a rule book of expectations of every year, what I expect my program to be. And I think I add something new in it every single year. You have to be adaptable in this day and age. If you're not adaptable, you're not going to last. So we learn new situations. Each of my 13 players that I have on my team it's going to have something where something's going to come up and it's going to be new. So I have to learn to adapt. I have a player possibly playing with the national team this year. She might be gone in September. I have to adapt and give her that opportunity to continue to be successful. So everything's a learning curve, but you have to be adaptable.
Yes, ma'am. So how do you have those difficult and hard conversations with your players? Because I know it can be tough sometimes. So how do you deal with things like that?
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy because you develop a relationship. One thing about us is we're transparent. You'll always know where we're coming from. You'll always know what we're thinking. If you're having a bad day, we're going to say, why are you having a bad day? We're not going to beat around the bush. We're going to come straight to you, and we're going to be transparent. So we like hard conversations. We like uncomfortable conversations. I think throughout the years that we've had to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations. I have them with my 3 children to this day. So it's not a problem for me. It's just another day in the work.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any WNBA players or NBA players or any other college players that you might show your players in film that you sort of want your play style to reflect?
So we have a lot of players on our team currently that want to go play in the league. So what we try to do is we look at the current the WNBA rosters, and we say, who is your game like? Who do you want to model it after? So we do that a lot here at Georgia. I think that's something that we've tried to implement, who is she very much like? When we recruit, we also do the same exact thing. We look at current WNBA players because every single one of my kids want to go play in the league, and we try to compare them to it. So, we like a lot of them, but I'm going to be honest, we love an athletic player.
Yes, ma'am. Like an athletic, like you're saying, like an athletic wing, or just in general?
Ooh, pick any of them. You can go Asia Wilson athletic. We love the post.
Mm-hmm.
We love the post that can do it all, but we also love those athletic guards that can really get down and get dirty. Skilled players is also fun. I love a good skilled player, but a skilled athletic player, more my cup of tea.
Yes, ma'am. You got me excited. I'm ready to watch you guys play. So in 5 years from now, when people talk about Coach Ayla Guzzardo's Georgia program, what do you hope they're saying?
God, I hope I'm still here.
Yes,
Look,
ma'am.
My goal is to make an impact. My goal
Yes,
is to make an impact on and off the floor. But ultimately, as much as I want to be remembered, I can't wait to see what my players do outside of just basketball. I attended one of my previous players' weddings. She was one of my players and one of my assistants. I attended her wedding this past year. That's fun for me. I want to see what they're doing and how they're continuing to grow up and get jobs and become mothers and wives. That's where we succeed. The games are amazing. But I'd love the fan base to kind of get to know my team, get to know them outside of just basketball, get to know them as people and be a part of their lives.
Yes, ma'am. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach. And go Dogs.
Go
Don't
Dogs.
let all this stuff behind you fool you. I'm definitely going to be rooting for you guys next season.
Look, I might have to get you a shirt.
Yes, ma'am. Most definitely. Thank you, Coach, so much.
Thank you.